I have never seen anything like this. Welcome back to Psych Memory of Chaos 3.3 Analytics. Right, so this is most likely going to be right before the tier list update. Special thanks to MrPokke, by the way. You're absolutely goddamn welcome. Absolutely goddamn welcome. Let's take a look at what exactly is happening right here. And there it is. The fastest cycle at E0S1 going to Cypher. 18.87% usage rate, which is also really good. Alright, Hyacinth, right, as expected, 62.03. Holy shit. That is a very good appearance rate for... Wait, I think this might be one of the highest rates we have seen for a sustained a long ass time. Not gonna lie, 7.88. Aglaya actually getting the top 3 at a 7.95. We did see an increment of 1.39 cycles. Yun Li somehow made it to top 5 with Huan Huan. Huan Huan and Yun Li, to be fair, they are basically designed for Hule. I'm not too sure about Huan Huan. Right, I'm not too sure about Huan, but I know Yun Li cooks Hule. Like easily cooks Hule. So this was like the perfect opportunity moment to make use of her kit against Hule. Very good. Huan Huan, I feel like even though you can use her Yun Li, sometimes if Hule wants to like bitch slap you, you're just gonna die, right? Unless you get an E2 Huan Huan. That is great. Tobas making a little bit of a comeback, 8.19%. Very good. I believe this should be with alongside of Fei Xiao. Yep, so that's gonna be Fei Xiao. Tribi, as per usual, 8.24, clinching in top 10, did go up by a 2-cycle average. To be fair, I think this is most likely attributed to the fact that the previous MOC, it was to shield, Pollux. So Tribi, right, Hyacinth, all that kind of stuff, are very good performances across the board. So it is what it is. Mose! Holy shit! Bro! Came back, assassin class DPS 1.36% though, so it's a little bit of a one guy scenario. And then we both have the Fei Xiao as well as the Babin wife, and welcome to my bro. Unfortunately, because we cannot mute Babin's song, I mean technically you could, but like, you know, I don't think I'm gonna be playing. Holy shit, Boxu, I don't want to hear about your pulls. I don't know who is using Jade though. Oh wait, Jade is for True Swarm. Oh, that is true, yeah. True Swarm with D Herda, right? Oh fuck. Okay, yep, Jade is gonna be here. Kazir is also going up by a considerable 2 cycles, though 8.31. I mean, to be expected, because like we all have really predicted, right? Pollux is meant to show Kazir. After Pollux goes away, she's definitely gonna be dropping down quite a bit, which she does. Still clinching into the top 12, I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, blah. Yeah, this is the top 12, so that is gonna be there. And by the time phainon rolls around, guess who is gonna be the fastest clearing DPS? Right, okay, very good. Kazir is gonna be up here. Aventuring does make a pretty nice comeback. I think Avenger is honestly really good against Hule, right? Even though he doesn't have the imaginary weakness, but I think he adds a lot of sustain for the entire team, much more than, for example, Huan Huan. This is about a bitch, right? She just constantly frauds and just let your team die, and you get one shot by Hule, and then she's just gonna stand there and cry and do nothing. You know, Avenging, now that's a real sustain. That's a real sustain right there. Whatever how many times Hule is gonna hit, he's gonna come back with more shields. Probably not gonna die. Very good. Alongside Sunday, by just a 0.01% difference, 43 and 33% respectively. I think that's very nice. Mimi actually went up by a little bit. All of them actually went up. I think across the board, we can generally agree the previous MOC 12, it was a lot more manageable, not just because of Pollux, but also because of the TV, right? The TV second half with the banana boss is very manageable as long as you can play the mechanics, right? Get the free energy regeneration, get the attack buff, get all of the hits. Shouldn't have too much of an issue. This MOC 12, however, I've made a poll. Alright, I've made a poll over here. Okay, this is the wrong game. Is this MOC too hard? 45.8% of voters believe that this MOC was too hard. I should probably do this poll a little bit more often. Or I should probably do this a little bit more often for every single MOC. But I have heard that this particular MOC, because it doesn't make use of like the shielding mechanics compared to the previous MOC, right? Like previous MOC had a lot of shielding compared to your Pollux, right? It makes it such that because these bosses, they were the same bosses that we fought last time, right? We fought True like 10,000 times by now. Hule, I think this is the 3rd time we fought against Hule. We all know the mechanics, right? Generally speaking, because the mechanics are not as, you know, dedicated to like a single DPS and single R type, the performances just tends to fall across the board, especially when previously it was really heavily catered towards casuals. And let's just be real, all y'all motherfuckers have no morals. Y'all poop. right? So a lot of like data with regards to the previous MOC, people had a much easier time going for the characteristics clip. So now that this is removed, because, you know, people have no morals, the performances from almost every single unit, right, not just DPS, every single unit has risen across the board, and I think that is to be expected. So it is what it is. Blade going up by a little bit, making it to, this is top 16 by the way, which I would say is honestly really fine, especially after Hule comes out. I can see bro legitimately rising up to the first row, so that is gonna be good over there. Ting Yun making a little bit of a comeback, quite interesting. I'm not really sure who is Ting Yun even used with though. 2.24% is very low. I don't know, sustainless with Babin. Let me know what you guys think, right? That is Sparkle, surprising 10% appearance. Oh, with Yingli? Alright, you can still use Ting with Yingli. Yeah, I forgot. Because then nowadays, back in my days, we always use Ting with Yingli, right? Yeah, but nowadays, Yingli has an RMZ, has a Sunday, has a Babin, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, Sparkle, 10% is honestly really high. Considering like how long she has been neglected, alongside with the fact that, you know, Sunday has been in Blender for like, I think like, what, half a year now? And Sparkle is still sort of doing okay at E0 S1. Hopefully the S1 is DDD. I am looking forward towards a Sparkle buff though. I am looking forward towards a Sparkle buff, right? Especially, you know, when more quantum DPS comes out, for example, you know, Archer uses a lot of skill points. Who knows, right? Because it's still going to be True Swarm, guys, right? True Sting, True Swarm is going to be our MOC 12 for like a pretty considerable period of time. So by the time Archer comes out, there's a pretty good chance that she might go all the way up. Because Sunday cannot sustain, alright? Sunday can't sustain the amount of skill points that Sparkle is going to go. Because like I mentioned, you can actually just do Sparkle's basic attack. You don't have to constantly skill with Sparkle every single turn. You can just do basic with Sparkles, get all the way up to 9 skill points, cast your skill once onto Archer, and then let Archer rip off. Let him rip all the skill points, and then it's gonna be absolute cinema, right? So that's gonna be that. Lingsha, Hule showcase, Lingsha showcase, Super showcase, very good, nothing too crazy. My Day, not doing too bad. 8.77 is honestly quite nice, especially against Hule, since, you know, taunt value, get the hits, get the counters. Not really counter, but like, you know, the enhanced gods and everything. Dude, chat, we literally don't have imaginary weakness for both halves. I think that is really good, right? Next up, he's absolutely him. March 7th. Not a lot of people are using him. Silver Wolf actually also making the first 2 rows, so that is quite nice. Most likely after the buff that we're going to be getting in less than, what, 3 days. I think her performance is going to be really good against True Swarm. To be fair, you can also potentially run in the second half for Hule, since she does have the Witness in Blood. But I would say her usage would definitely be a lot better in the first half, right? So that's going to be that. Baby Herda and Herda. Oh boy. I actually don't really know why. TBH. Do you guys remember the last D Herda? The last time when we had D Herda back in the D Herda days when she first launched, it was literally also with True Sting. Boom! Single target, by the way. Single target. This was single target damage. E0 S1. Absolute goddamn cinema. And it was literally against True Swarm, right? Granted, it was sustainless. But to say that, I don't know, wait, any Herda mains in the chat? No Jade nor Anexa? What is Jade and Anexa? I don't know what the hell are those. Bro, this was back in those days when I haven't pulled for Jade. I'm pretty sure when this launched, I haven't even gotten Jade yet. I don't really know what happened specifically to the... Was it the blessing? It might be the blessing, to be fair. It might be the blessing. People are too tended to break the horse. First wave horse is the gatekeeper. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that makes a bit of sense. So after you kill the guy that spawns in the mobs, right? The horse is just gonna be there alone. And you didn't get a Nexa to help Herda's biggest flaw, that's gonna be single target DPS. Ooh, that is a bit rough. I remember because back in those days, the first wave, it was not the horse. It was a general. It was a disciple, right? I'm pretty sure it was the disciple. Yeah, so, okay. And also because of the trotters. Okay, I think it makes a lot more sense now. So it was a disciple with the trotters. So you had a very high uptime of like 5 targets. So Herda could pop off quite easily. But now that we are up against first wave, which is against a horse, and then if you kill the other war armor guy, which always should just die before the horse, you're gonna be left in a very awkward scenario in which pretend this is like the horse, right? And we don't have Anexa. You're gonna take like a really long ass fucking time to get through to this guy over here. Yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate then. That is a little bit unfortunate. Okay, Ranmei going up 2.14 as well, 44.8. Bronya is gonna be at a 8.95, which is actually not even that far off from Ranmei. It's not even that far off from Ranmei at only 0.02. 2. The more interesting thing is Acheron and Jiao is probably the horse. I mean, to be fair, it's like off element, right? Neither's half has a lightning weak. Even though Acheron's ultimate had the rest penetration as well as ignore toughness bar, I think having a lack of access to like the elemental advantage in this game is really starting to show. Because to be very true sting, he does summon the bugs, right? Which honestly should work very nicely with Acheron and Jiao. Right? Because Jiao gives you stacks based on the true sting, right? True stings are little buggies. When they move, you gain stacks. So honestly, this mechanic it should be suitable with Jiao. But I think at this point, it's no longer but what if. It actually will. From what I'm guessing is when... This is before Silver Wolf's buff, by the way. This is before Silver Wolf's buff, right? So, yeah, it is what it is, right? Gallagher, okay, not doing too bad, right? A little bit far from Ling Xiaoni, but like 0.25, nothing too crazy. Fu Xuan is gonna be chilling, most likely gonna be the first half. Rabba is gonna be not too... Actually, all the break DPS are around the same ballpark, with Firefly falling the worst, kind of, but even not really even that bad. It's just like 0.14 and 0.12 respectively between Rabba and Boot Hill. I would say it's also because they do have a much higher usage rate, right? So we are gonna get the tourist problem for Fireflies, right? A lot of these tourists not really treating their Fireflies right, so it is what it is. And then Lolicha, I don't know, right? Yep, very nice. Fugue is actually... How the hell is Fugue all the way? Oh my god, nobody is using HMC anymore. I don't know how the hell is Fugue worse than Rame, by the way. 22.6 at around 0.3, 0.29, 0.3. Quite interesting. And then, oh, reduced because of Firefly. Okay, then it is what it is, right? Then everyone else is more or less dead from Argenti onwards at E0S1. DOT, nowhere to be found. But I can see for a fact that, you know, after we get a DOT buff, especially at least to Kafka, and when Heislins comes up by 3.5, they will be back, right? Ratio, who you see, Japar, who you see, Dale, Jingyuan, Silap, you know, eventually they're getting buffed, right? Eventually they're getting buffed. I think Jingliu, after the buff, actually usable. Probably not gonna be top 2, but definitely gonna be usable against True Storm. Because it's kind of crazy that True Storm is literally weak to ice, and Jing Liu being an ice DPS is not even making it to the 10 cycle, right? So that is pretty much it for E0 S1 category. For our E0 S0, holy shit, gulp. I have never seen anything like this. At E0 S0, we only have 15 units that cleared within 10 cycles, with D Herta Anexa being the last 2. I'm not sure if it's because like they are just unplayable or like people just don't even have them. Because we see a lot of 0%. And even if they do play them, it's like 0.01%. So it might be a little bit more like people just don't even have full E0 S0 anymore. After like 2.5 years. Going to 2 3/4, right? Going to 2 3. Actually, it's more than 2.5 years. Yeah, maybe people actually just like stopped using E0 S0s. Because like the appearance rate is like really like, okay, for example, right? If you show me like Acheron at E0 S, this was like, I don't know, like 5%, 6%, 10% for like all these units, then I think it's gonna be a bit rough. But the percentage for E0 S0 havers, it's so low. I can't even say this is like a supportive data, because even for the clearers, right, it's literally like 1 or 2 guys. It's so low. I think every single one of these decimal add up is less than like 5%, less than 3% from the entire data set that we have, which is how many? 16,585 players. So I would say this is just an extremely small sample size. Not really quite enough to show like conclusive evidence of what it's like. And also I feel like at the end of the day, if you guys are like part of like Prydwen's data, right? Because you are from like MrPokke and all that kind of stuff. If you guys watch our content, you're probably not gonna be where majority of the casual players are gonna be, where they watch like YouTube videos, you know, join social media, you know, Twitch chat, yapping on Twitch chat, you know, go to Kick and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, it is quite interesting to see that there's so little people nowadays that are actually still using E0 S0 in 2025 for the big HSR, right? So that is gonna be that, right? Only 3 icons, exactly. Only 3 icons. So basically your Herda shop, your right? I don't even think it includes. Does it include gacha 4 stars? Because technically they're not really free, right? So very, very small sample size of the population. Up to E2 and all icons. Holy shit. The cat, bruh. The cat is always popping off. And I think time and time again, I don't think I've ever seen Aglaya drop below like the first row. Like ever since her launch in 3.0, I've never ever seen Aglaya fall below the first row. Like never. They don't even have lightning winners, by the way. Look at what happened to Akron. You know what I'm saying? And she doesn't even have rest pen, right? She doesn't have a rest pen. She doesn't have the ignore toughness bar. Every single MOC statistics, I literally don't think I've ever seen Aglaya fall out of her. Oh, it's a tricycle team? Oh, wait, you're right. Wait, it is a tricycle team. I will see what teams are people cooking with Aglaya. I feel like it's probably leaning still towards like maybe outside of tricycle, right? Maybe outside because this sample size is very, very small, whereas this sample size is very, very big. So I would say majority of Aglaya. I'll see what the teams are gonna be like. But yeah, the top 3 is gonna be the tricycle plus Aglaya. Fei Xiao, my wife, absolute fucking cinema. Never change, absolutely, right? If you love, you get her E2, absolutely. Bronya actually making the top 6, 3.14%. HMC. I'm guessing this is probably with Firefly, right? It is probably with Firefly. 6.6 going to 13.1%. Unless they're running Tricycle plus HMC. Barbin is gonna doing very, very nice on a Topaz. Caceres at E2. I'm quite surprised Caceres is actually lower than Aglaya. Considering that the MOC buff is for your Mimo sprites, right? It's for like your Mimo sprites DPS. And like the first half is technically still True Sting, which is Quantum Weak. Yeah, I'm quite surprised. I might be a tourist problem. Might be a tourist problem, right? A lot is the same thing as Firefly, right? A lot of people are using Caceres. Not enough people are gonna be using Aglaya comparatively speaking. So there's a lot more dilution in the terms of performance. So that's gonna be there. Yingli is still clutching in top 11. That's fine. Then finally we have 6.39 for RMC. Sunday is around the same. One guy scenario. Buzz is still him. I think this is still. Where is D Herla? 6.6. I think that's okay. So these 3 are around at the same ballpark, right? Especially Anexa and Dira is like around the same percentage of usage. Now I think there are a couple of Jade users here and there at E1+. Holy shit! The 0.4% of Guo Wangs actually making it to the top 24. This is rank 21, I believe. Yeah, this is rank 21. 21, 22, 23, 24. Holy shit. The 0.4%. Out DPSing a little bit compared to Firefly. But then again, also because of the sample size, right? Then E2 Akron still as is 6.66, which is really, really good. Then Sparkle is going to be at 6.68 behind her. We have Fuchs DDD slightly rise up to Rame. But let's just be real. Rame's E2 does absolutely fucking nothing. So it is what it is. Baby Herda carried by, I guess, Big Herda at this point. Because E2 Big Herda is honestly really, really strong. Then we have Lingsha over here. I don't think I've ever seen E2 Akron having a higher score than Jiao Qiu. I think for the longest time, it was always the other way. Like, Jiao Qiu is higher than Akron because a lot of players that, you know, skipped Jiao Qiu, they still use Akron. And then Akron had like a higher score, especially for the, lower score, because a lot of these Akron players just don't have Jiao Qiu. But I think now, yeah, with the inclusion of Gap, right? With the inclusion of Gap into Akron teams, this might be our first time seeing Akron going above Jiao Qiu, signaling that the question of what if has more or less been fulfilled at this point. Right, so it is what it is. Then this is gonna be Fu Xuan, Boot Hill, right, Mark 7 Blade, right, all the kind of stuff. I think all of these are not really too crazy over here. Jing Liu actually still clearing by 0.09%, absolutely insane. Rappa all the way down here at 7.64 at 2.27, and then most of these people just don't really see much use. One day Stella will come again. I feel like maybe one day Stella, after all of the buffs that we have been seeing, she is gonna come back eventually. Right? So that is gonna be that. Usage rate over here, let's just show the combined. Boom, RMC is rank 1, Girlfriend is rank 1, and then these are gonna be the casuals. So this is literally the casuals team. Very, very reminiscent of like what I saw from like Firefly back in those days. I think when 2.4, 2.5, when by the time that came out, when the data solidified, it has always been HMC, Firefly, Ranmei, Gallagher. Like, it was literally just these units, all over again, right? It's the exact same game all over again. So, nothing too much to say. And this is going to be Bubbin with Ranmei. The top two are supports over here. And then we have a Blast doing quite well against the Hulei side. And then we do have Sunday into Fei Xiao. Lingsha, Fuke, Dihera still clutching into the top 12 for the highest appearance. Alexa closely behind Dihera, only like 0.03% difference. Gallagher basically being the side grade. Huan, great. And then Cypher went up a little bit. Firefly is still the... What is this? 1, 2? Yeah, the fourth most used DPS behind Caceres, Fei Xiao, and Dihera. So a lot of the population still are sticking with their favorite girl from Pentagon. So that's going to be there. Tobes slightly increased appearance to Acheron. Yunli going up by an absolutely insane amount. Lorcha going down because, Porax is not a thing anymore. Then the rest of this DPS just goes towards the one guy category. So that is pretty much it. Usage rate and performance over time. Okay. So Aglaia and Caceres actually tied at 7.75. Herda is still doing very well in the top 3. This is across the past 3 MOC. Then My Day is going to come in at 8.11 cycles, 13.38%. Blade somehow made it to the top 5. Bro is definitely not a Caceres simp. Bro is definitely not getting wheelchaired by Caceres. 8.39. Alright, literally outclearing Reba, Yunli, Acheron, Fei Xiao, Firefly, Jingyuan, Boothill, and Himiko. I don't even know who the hell is still using Himiko in the big 2-5, especially in the past 3 MOC cycles. And everyone here mostly unused, right? Most of them being the version 1 DPS. Other than Jingyuan, I think most of all these units are pretty much gonna be version 1. So these are gonna be the cycle clears. Nexa going very closely with Cypher. I think Cypher is just gonna keep going up. After time goes on, as we see more and more introductions, right? First we have phainon, and then eventually it's gonna pivot into Celedra as well as Hysolence. Cypher will start to see more and more showcases. Whereas for Nexa, you either run him main DPS as a standalone, you basically dump D-Herta, or you combine Bro with D-Herta. But as we've discussed on our channel for like the past couple of months, they have been shifting away from the MOC's AOE environment, right? They have been shifting away for like a good while now, right? So as time progresses, it's gonna lead to a situation where when AOE goes down, Nexa is you have to sort of make a choice, right? For the Nexa, do you still want to go down with the ship with AOE environments by running him alongside Dihera, or you just say, you know what, fuck this bitch, I'm out, and then you just jump off in a lifeboat, sail across alone, and then just run main DPS Nexa? Because technically main DPS Nexa is definitely still workable. But all things considered, I would say these are always like a little bit of like a rotation, right? Because they keep changing it based on rotation. So maybe in the next couple of patches, it's gonna be no longer AOE focused, and then after a while, maybe they go back. Right, maybe they go back into being AOE focused again. Then we can always just see the resurgence, right? Because the same thing sort of happening with Acheron. Acheron is like, and then so it keeps going up and down. But just something to be mindful of. I would say, should you be pulling Cypher based on the performances in MOC, and I guess for the past couple of endgame content, right? It's really up to you. If you are like not struggling, right? 200 pulls, free Archer Light Gun, right? Fake collaborations, phainon, all that, right? Celedra is coming. If you have no issues, I really don't think players should feel that much of a pressure just to get like, what is performing very well as of this point. Because newsflash, every single new unit performs very well when they come out, right? So just to keep in mind, right, don't gamble, right? Don't spend money on gacha games. All right, let's just move forward. Anyways, rest of the stuff here, nothing too much has changed. Tribute is still the de facto highest usage rate out of every single one of these units, right? Basically just clearing everybody in usage rate. So I would say this is a very good performance overall. Everything else just getting to the one guy territory. So that's gonna be there. And then for your amplifier, Sunday somehow actually managed to go up before RMC. To be fair, it is at half the usage rate, but Sunday, he is gonna go up again. Why? phainon is coming out. And then those players who have Sunday and they use him with phainon, he's gonna shoot up again. You can still use RMC with phainon. It is definitely possible. In fact, every single one of these units in these two columns, you can run them with phainon. He's just that universal to be ranked with so many different support classes. But I would say Sunday is definitely going to be getting a buff up the moment phainon drops on Wednesday. So I would expect this to go up even higher. RMC is RMC, Babin is Babin, right? I think if more people start using her for like 0 seconds on account of her appearance would definitely go up even higher. Ranmei, Jiaoqiu, Sparkle, or ooh, Sparkle and Bronya, I can legitimately see them overtaking Jiaoqiu. Very, very possible. Because Sparkle is eventually gonna open up with Archer. And even as we speak before Archer, Sparkle and Bronya, they can be used with Sunday. Jiaoqiu, not as much. Not as much, right? Because unfortunately, a lot of Phainon's kit, it is based on enhanced skill damage. It is all enhanced skill. He doesn't really have an ultimate damage except for like the big boom towards the end. So Jiaoqiu is probably not going to be the biggest benefactors. And once that happens and more people start to shift into phainon after especially the absolute cinema of a trailer, I would see this with Acheron going down a little bit because, you know, it's a brand new era of DPS and they want to market it and all that kind of stuff, right? So just something to be mindful of. I don't know if Super Break is that bad because I think Super Break is still going to be very, very usable against Hule. So that is pretty much it. Pella, I think she's gonna go like way the fuck down, and Zero is gonna go like way the fuck up. They're gonna swap positions a little bit, but after the buffs, Tianyun, I think Tianyun is gonna go up by quite a lot as well when phainon releases. I think Tianyun should be around the same category as Sparkle and Bronya. So that is gonna be that. Everyone else doesn't really matter. Sustain slot, I'm honestly surprised when somehow beat out Hyacinth. What? I don't really know how that happened, but very, very interesting. Even though it's by 0.02 and even though the average usage is at 1/3, a W is still a W, right? A W is still a W, so that is pretty much it. I would say that Hyacinth, next cycle, she might not be as favorable, especially because for the casual audience that still wants to run a sustain, right? I've mentioned that Phainon's best in slot team is going to be sustainless, but for casuals that still wants to run sustain, they are most likely going to be Stebion Huan with phainon. She definitely works with phainon because he gains stacks from energy regeneration and she buffs up the energy for your other 2 slots as well, so you can rotate the ultimates a little bit better. So I can see this going up even higher, and Hyacinth is just going to chill a little bit over here. Lingsha and Gallagher all around the same ballpark. Aventrine, I think as long as Hule is going to be in place, he's not going to go away anywhere. And then after the current MOC 12, the next MOC is going to be Savrok, and it's gonna be Aventrine again, right? Savrok and Aventrine. So by the time those comes around, I think that's when DOT will see a resurgence, but I think that's like way beyond in the future, so I'm not really gonna talk about it that much. Everything else just seems to be around this place. And finally, we will move on into the clears. Right, so rank 1 side is mainly just all casters, right? So they are all different casters teams, but when you combine them all into one, it is basically different variations of casters. First thing I want to ask myself is, who is using Cypher nowadays? Okay, so it does appear that Cypher has been used with casters, with Fei Xiao, with Acheron, with Yun Li. That is 5 different with Kelala. 我操 7.86 average cycle with Kelala on a sustain at E0. That is absolutely fucking diabolical. Very, very good. Very, very good. Other than that, I would say, oh my. To be fair, it's E1 plus, so this is probably E2 Firefly, but still. I mean, the damage from Super Break, it does stack, by the way. Super Break damage, DOT damage, they both stack onto Patron. So you actually can gain stacks very, very fast if you still want to slot in Cypher with all these other team comps. So quite interesting, right? Interesting. Yeah, she just appears to like go with like almost every single team in the game, right? Yeah, even with like D Herda. Alright. Daughter ratio. Holy shit. Yep. Very, very, very high appearance from across the board. So that's gonna be Cypher. I think her usage is gonna be very, very nice. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, so chat. Aglaya is not using the wheelchair comp, right? Because previously we were like wondering, was this because of wheelchair, right? We were wondering, is Aglaya this high because of the wheelchair? No, right? Aglaya is not dead, right? She's still alive. She's not on a wheelchair. Most popular team is still going to be sticking aside with Babin, Sunday, and Huan. Defender both halves. This is actually fucking insane, by the way. E1 plus 5 cycle with a sustain. Very, very strong performance across the board. In terms of sort by cycles, 0.067 cycle clear. Yep. I don't think I see Aglaya in a single wheelchair, guys. she actually did not appear in a wheelchair. So that was all Aglaia. Alright, this was all Aglaia, alright? No Tribi, no Hia, no Cypher. Strictly with the previous team. Bro, her team has been like set since 3.0. Sunday Babin Huan. Like, she's like what? Bro, she's like a horseshoe crab. You know horseshoe crab, they never evolve for the past 200 million years. Right? It's like a living fossil. Her team has been like frozen in time for the past 4 patches. And she's still in the same team and clearing with absolutely exceptional results. So I would say Aglaia, she aged very, very well. Just like a goddamn MILF, right? Absolutely insane, absolutely insane. Other than that, fastest team clear is going to be Aglaia and Alexa on an average of 0 cycle at E0 with Bronya, Cypher, and Babin. And we do have a Acheron with Cypher, Pella, and Tribi. So we have honestly quite a diverse rosters of units. So we have Aglaia, Acheron, Alexa, Herta, Maide, Caceres. Ratio. Doctor ratio. Okay, not a single super break in sight, and not a single super break in sight. So none of the super break teams are clearing fast anymore, right? Every single of the fast clears, they were all done using crit DPS. Let me see if we can find like a single super break team here. But even Kelala is like sort of popping off at this point. Yeah, oh my god, wait, there's actually not a single super break, guys. 0 super break team. So, yeah, not a single super break team. If I can say so. Look at the team of super breakdown, and there it is. Select Run May, sort by cycles. Oh. Yeah, super. Okay, Reba and Boot Hill. At rank 7 for both first half and second half. Reba and Boot Hill are the fastest clearing super break teams. I'm assuming with Ranmei, okay, the exact same team. Boot Hill clearing 8 cycles with Lingsha is absolutely diabolical. Reba sustainless, right, with Fuke HMC as well as Ranmei E0 at 7.5. And then going down a little bit, Boot Hill actually also clearing the first half. So we do see a appearance of Boot Hill in both the first side as well as the second side. To be fair, the appearance rate is extremely, extremely low. Super, super low. Super break, more like super low. And then we do have, finally we see a Firefly here. Not doing too bad, right? Because to be fair, it's still Fuke, Ranmei, and Gallagher. 8.78 on E0, right? 8.78 on E0. Not doing too bad. And then Boot Hill is going to be over here running the exact same team, right? Let me just check the Tricycle real quick. Okay, there's actually not a lot of Tricycle teams, guys. There were only 6 Tricycle teams. Caceres, Acheron, Fei Xiao Blade. That's it. So I don't think people have been exposed to the power of the Tricycle team yet. Especially after we made that video, right? Where we literally showcased every single DPS running with Tricycle. So not a very, very high appearance. They are not aware yet. Okay, what if I take away Cypher? Because maybe people just didn't pull for Cypher. Oh, then it's just all Caceres. Okay, a couple of Caceres, a little bit of Hera in there, but like mainly just Caceres. Caceres and all the guys are. Oh wait, Blade, yeah. Wait, hold up, Blade. I mean, it's a half and half. You know, it's a half and half. Some of them is with Caceres. Some of them is actually by his own power, right? This is by his own power, right? We're gonna ignore like Tribi and Hyacinth, but it's technically by his own power. 9 cycle, 8.5 over here. Alright, this is by 9 cycle. This is 7.33 into 8 cycles. First half, second half for both sides, right? This side doesn't even have win weakness. So I think Blade has been doing quite well if we saw by cycle. Bro, look at that. The fastest clearing Blade team is not with Caceres. It's literally by its own power. Editor, crop out these 2 butter bitches, right? Crop out these 2. Word of the day is gonna be MILF. Join Twitch, join YouTube, join Discord, join the. Let me know, guys, in the comments below. Who do you guys vote for? Are you having issues with the current MOC 12? Because if you can clear the current MOC 12, apparently you're the top 10%, top 1% in the entire HSI community, right? Absolutely. Use code for 10%, use code for 10%, all the best. We'll see you guys. Take care.